vibrant health and beauty radiates from the inside out. Get your glow on with Green Divas Health and Beauty tips, from natural skincare to creating healthier habits that make us sparkle. All right, so this is a topic we don't talk enough about, at least not here on the Green Divas, but it is something I'm personally very passionate about. And I was so inspired by this young woman, Meika Hollender, who, with her parents, has started a company. They founded a company called Sustain Condom, and it's sustainnatural.org. And it's all sustainable, vegan, healthy, natural products for whether they're condoms, lubricants, and what they're doing is part of what motivates them, at least from what I can understand, is helping educate women and women's health issues and supporting women's health. They have a program called 10% for Women. And I just want to talk to her more about this because this topic is, important for me. Anyway, hi, Meika.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, and I love what you're doing. And so let's talk about 10% for Women.
Great. Yeah, so 10% for women. So when we started Sustain, we really wanted to focus on women for a few reasons. One is because, when you look at the category of sort of sexual wellness products, condoms, lubricants, etc., you quickly see that these are products that have been marketed to men since the beginning of time. And so we found that, interesting, and we dug a little bit deeper, and we found out that not only are many of these products, and in some cases a higher percentage, actually more so women than men, are purchasing these products. But we also realize, a lot of the sort of health and life effects of not using these products get sort of put on the woman.
Yeah.
So when you think about things like 50% of pregnancies in the U.S. are unintended.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me just pause on that statistic. 50%? Did you say 50?
50. It's significantly higher than in most other developed countries, and obviously it's for low-income women, the rates are 5 times higher than for women at higher income levels.
Wow.
So, and when you think that all that comes with that, and, we can get into the STDs and all of that stuff as well, we just realized there was obviously a problem here. And so a way that we wanted to try and address some of these issues and really sort of start a movement to get women more empowered to take control of their sexual health and family planning was not only by starting Sustain, but also giving 10% of our profits to women's reproductive health care organizations only in the U.S.
Yeah. So some of it's education, and some of it is actual access to health care, right?
Yeah, a lot of it's both. It's exactly what you're saying. It's a strong mix of both. I mean, you see, the rates of single women using condoms are not much better or worse depending on, what income level person you're talking to.
Right.
So education is a huge part of it, and obviously the sex ed in the U.S. is sort of pathetic at best.
It hasn't, and I don't know, you're a lot younger than me, but I think it's gotten worse.
I think that, a big part of it is just sort of the program aspect in terms of what they're teaching in school, but another part of it is really the fact that many parents, at best have one conversation about sex and sexual health with their kids.
Right.
And I think that's an area that we could sort of move the needle a lot more quickly. I think from an institutional level, there are so many factors involved, and there's, so much going on, and it's not looking good. But
there seems to have been like this conservative push in certain areas to teach only abstinence and kind of remove some of the other vital bits of the educational process.
Yeah, there are certain states that require abstinence education. And what's really interesting about that is that the teen pregnancy rates are actually much higher in those states than in other states.
Not really a surprise. You know what I mean?
Not a huge surprise.
Oh, my God.
But, you know, research has obviously found that young people who receive comprehensive sex ed are much less likely to report pregnancy than these abstinence-only education programs. And, I mean, it makes sense. But I think it's obviously unrealistic, and I'm not sure if it's changing. There's a huge, you know, I think a lot of the issues that we're fighting against today, whether it's Planned Parenthood and abortion access to anything else, is really, it feels like we're sort of fighting a fight that was fought, you know, 50 years ago.
Yeah. Roe v. Wade. Hello. Supreme Court issues. I mean, they're all right there.
Yeah, Lena Dunham actually today is starting a movement called Ask Your Mother, and she released a series of stories about women who got abortions in the 60s and how sort of crazy it is that some of those stories could be told today.
Yeah. So that's the other part, is access to adequate health care.
We are giving in the U.S. only because, you know, people in the U.S. like to think of ourselves as sort of doing everything well compared to everywhere else. And I think when you look at, you know, there's 20 million women in the U.S. who lack access to reproductive health care and family planning services. And that's sort of a scary number. And then you look at what's happening politically, and you look at organizations like Planned Parenthood whose funding is at risk, and it makes sense. I mean, it's an underfunded area to begin with, and now looking at states sort of pulling the plug on even funding these organizations is obviously going to have us going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, come on, people. Anyway, so it's interesting that with your folks, can you just speak for a minute, because we're going to have to close up, but about how you got into this business with your parents, which is a little unusual. See?
Not typical. My father started Seventh Generation almost 30 years ago, which is the first brand of sustainable household and cleaning and personal care products in the U.S. So he's been in this space for a very long time, and I sort of grew up in this space. And, you know, I always say I didn't know at a young age that I'd be creating a line of condoms with my parents, but developing a sustainable brand with them is definitely something that I always sort of thought about, and I didn't really know where my place would be in this sort of sustainable business movement. But I'm become extremely passionate about women's health and reproductive rights issues in the past 5 or 6 years, and so this sort of felt like a good marriage of both the sustainability issues and the women's health stuff. Well,
it's brilliant, and I'm very, very glad that you have followed your passion, because I think it will have a wonderful impact on the world. I met your pop. It was some event a few years ago. He had some beer. He had started a line of beer. Orleo, does that sound familiar?
No, but you might be thinking of his partner in Seventh Generation who went on to start Magic Hat.
I don't know. I swear it was your dad, though, because I think I recognize the name, but who knows? And it was a few years ago. So hats off to you and your family for, you know, continually coming up with solutions for some of the problems we've got that are all about sustainability and the connection between health, nature, planet, and, of course, women in this instance. So thank you again, Meika, and I hope we get to talk to you soon.
Great. Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Are you sparkling yet? Well, you will be. For information on this segment and lots of other healthy, green living information, visit thegreendivas.com. That's THE, greendivas.com.